Today's video is especially for presidents, so you're going to want to hear what I have to say about the 5 things that every president needs. And this is no matter what your group is called, if you're a PTA, a PTSA, a PTO, a PC, a HSA, you name it. If you were a president heading up a parent school volunteer group, then this is for you. So let's jump into it. So like I said, there are 5 things that every president needs. So the very first thing that all presidents need is actually a support network. You're going to need someone to kind of listen to what's going on, give you ideas, ask, hey, how do you handle this situation? Or I've heard this, is this true? And you're just going to want feedback and all that good stuff. And so it's really hard to be president in a vacuum because so many people are just coming at you with all of their ideas. Some of them are great and some of them really suck. So you're going to have to sift through all of that. And you personally might not know, or you might really enjoy having the experience and knowledge of others. And so that's where your support network comes in. And the very best one I can recommend to you is actually a free community that I run. It's the PTO Superstar Leaders Facebook group. I will drop a link to the community below so you can go ahead and request to join. It's free to join. And when you come into the group, you are going to join the ranks of over 8,000 members who are just like you, who are running their groups in their communities. And there are so many ideas and inspiration, motivation. You will find it in this group. You will not be alone and you will really feel supported. It is awesome to have that resource right there at your fingertips. The next thing that you absolutely positively must have as a president are some limits. So this means like personal limits on like what you will do and what you won't do, either mostly with your time. So I remember back when I was first PTA president for a lower elementary school, I was at school during the week helping out a lot, like so much so that I'd come home at the end of the week and my house was kind of a wreck and we had eaten dinner out a couple nights that week because I didn't have time to make dinner because I was doing stuff at school. And yes, I was being helpful at school, but I also wasn't doing what I wanted to do for my family. So if you want to seek to get any sort of balance, you're really going to have to set some limits. And that might be, I'm only going into school for 2 days this week or 2 times this week, and really telling people no, that you can't do that right now, or seeing if other people can do it, or just saying that just can't happen right now. I'm sorry, I can't help you out. Like, no is not a bad word. You should definitely be saying no as a president, because so many people are going to be coming at you with different requests and saying, hey, can you guys do this? Or hey, can you personally do this? And so you really have to be honest about what bandwidth you have and know that you are saying yes to things that you can handle and also saying no to things that are kind of beyond what you can manage. And of course, that's going to vary from person to person. So there's no hard and fast rule. It kind of just depends on what you can handle. And it, of course, is also going to ebb and flow throughout the entire year, because there are definitely some busier times in PTO land, like the beginning of the school year and the end of school year are kind of crazy because there's a lot of information, a lot of either things to get going, and then at the end of the year, things to wrap up. So it's super busy. You already knew this, but adding in those limits so that you are not extending yourself farther than you can handle will really prevent overwhelm. The next thing that you should have as a president is a sounding board. Now, this is kind of somewhat similar to the whole support network, but kind of different. I would find somebody that you can talk to in person or over the phone, where you can just kind of bounce ideas off of them, get some feedback, explain what you're going through. It's helpful if they kind of understand your world. That's why I don't necessarily recommend it being your husband or your spouse, because my husband, back in the day, before he knew better, he'd be like, well, that's just too much. Like, you should just quit. And that's not what I needed. I didn't need to be told that it was too much. I just needed to vent my frustrations, explain what was going on, maybe ask for some feedback sometimes. But I didn't need to be told that it was just too much and I should give up. And so husbands will sometimes say that. So that's why I recommend finding a sounding board that is someone other than your spouse. The next thing that all presidents absolutely positively must have is a full board, like executive board and committee chairs. Because if those things are not being done, or if there are not people rather to fill those roles, then guess what? Those job responsibilities will fall back onto you as president. And you already have a full enough plate because you are in charge of making sure all the things are happening. So you don't actually need more responsibilities. So it is super helpful if you can get those positions filled. Or if it is something that your group can do without for a year, like since you have no interest in volunteers, it doesn't mean it necessarily needs to happen. You don't need to be doing everything, but sometimes there are things that absolutely have to get done. So it is going to fall on your shoulders. So that's why it's a great idea to go ahead and recruit volunteers for those roles so that you don't have the responsibilities of those positions added to your already full plate. The last thing that I think every single president absolutely needs, no matter their group name, is a planner. And specifically, I really think you need the President Success Kit. This planner is such a lifesaver. I developed this because I love to be organized, and it gives you a great overview and structure for a binder. Like I said, no matter your group's name, you can customize the cover. And inside there are section dividers and then customizable tabs. So you can really customize it for your school, for your group, for your position. And it is a beautiful thing. Definitely make sure that you are getting a binder together because it is essential to have all of the information right at your fingertips. If you don't have a binder or a planner and you're kind of like, oh, that's all on the computer, you're not going to be as efficient as if you would have it all together, like literally at your fingertips. It's going to be harder to find. And I guarantee there's going to come a point in time when you are looking for some information and can't find it quickly. So if you have the binder, there are prompts for you to get certain information so that you have it right there. For example, you should have a copy of your bylaws and standing rules printed out. Yes, print it out and in your binder so that you can reference them at meetings should things come up. That way you're kind of making sure that you're running your group in accordance with them because that is the purpose of those documents. There's supposed to be guidance for you so that there aren't questions. Like people before you have figured out kind of the hard issues and some of the hard questions. And if your bylaws and standing rules aren't up to date, well, then that needs to be added to your to-do list to take care of in the next few months because that is really essential for a functioning and healthy group. So there you have it. Those are the 5 things that I think every single PTO or PTA president needs. So I so hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will join me for the next one. Want even more guidance on how to be a stronger leader so you can run a better PTO or PTA? All these resources and more are waiting for you at ptoanswers.com.